So I'm out in my yard and I have these little pretty violets that grow all over my front yard. So I'm going to pick a few to press. Now I'm just, I don't know if you can see the fine stems. I'm going to press some with the stems and some without, and I'm just checking to see like the leaves that I brought in. You can see it's got some already dry dead portion on here. So I'm just gently brushing that off, because if it's already dry, we don't want to over process it. And then I'm going to pick the ones with the best looking stems to press. As you can see, my press has been used quite a bit, but those aren't going to make a difference. And however you arrange your flowers or your leaves, that's how they're going to be when they're done. And anything that overlaps is going to stick, or most likely will stick. Sometimes you can separate them. And for the rest, because I want to put some that are face on, but you can see that they're like a trumpet shape, I'm just going to take and pinch too much, which is not a problem because I'll just press the petals. I don't want it to fall apart again. So I'm going to leave it like that. You want to handle the flowers themselves pretty gently because you don't want to damage the petals. Hope you can see this clearly. They're pretty small. Got one that has the flower still attached. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to roll it so you can kind of adjust as it's coming down. Now into the microwave. See all the moisture on there? You want to wipe those off. We want to just gently roll back our cotton. Just in case something is sticking to it, we don't want to just take it right off. Sticks, you can just gently tug it on the bias, and many times it will come right off. So we want to touch the flowers everywhere. Now the petals are so delicate and thin that they're done. The leaves are done, but this thick part where there's lots of overlapping layers, some of them are done. If they feel sticky, a little bit sticky or rubbery, then they're not quite 100% dry. When they're 100% dry, they would have a papery feel to it, and they're not crispy. No. You don't necessarily want to do this, but I'm just trying to show you that it has some give to it, but yet it holds itself. It doesn't droop either, but it has this paper, just feels like paper. So those are done. Give a before and after here. Let's see if you can see. Pressed it really nice. Now this one isn't quite ready yet. And it can vary from flower to individual flower, depending on how thick it is, how much moisture it had to start with. Whoops, whoops. See that petal stuck there. So these ones are a little bit sticky. I could put them in again for another 10 seconds because I know my microwave. They may even just require 5 seconds to dry. To dry that spot there. On those the thick ends. Here's some unpressed ones. Now these flowers, these violets can be pressed with their stem on, but these are so small and delicate that they're great for jewelry or small projects. So I'm actually going to just cut the stem off. You can just pinch it with your fingernail or cut it, and you can choose whether you take the green leaves off, but you don't want to cut it any farther down or it will completely fall apart. And then you can choose also whether you leave the back side on there. Depending on what you're using it for, you might want to. If you remove it, then it lessens what overlaps and makes the drying process faster. So you can use scissors, or you can just take your fingernails and pinch it off. going to be careful when handling the flower that we don't bruise the petal. That will show up that will come out. Any damage will really show up when you press the flower. You can see the moisture. We wipe it off every time because that moisture is also an indicator on how dry the flowers are getting. If you have to do a second burst or even a third, fourth burst, the moisture on the platen will get less and less, and that will also be an indicator that your flower is getting dry and that you should put it on for shorter bursts. And if it sticks, just gently stretch it on the bias of the fabric diagonally. And then without bending the flower, you can bend the fabric and you can work it off. So then we touch all the flowers. And because these are so thin and delicate, there's not a whole lot of moisture in them. In my microwave, it just takes 30 seconds. That's all that's required. Sometimes if I have the stems on them or extra leaves, there might be one portion that is not doesn't quite get dry, and I might have to put it in for another shorter burst. Should be using my tweezers.